A pretty major demo will be headed its way to the PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4, and that is for the upcoming shooter in Outriders. We're gonna be getting that. Also, Final Fantasy XVI been a little bit quiet over 2021, and there seems to be a reason for that. We'll talk about that. And The Sinking City is coming to the PlayStation 5, and it is out today. We'll talk about that at the end of this video. Okay, first of all, PlayStation 5 and PS4 shooter Outriders is getting an in-depth demo, and it is coming next week. They have a map with the local times of when it's coming out, but we should be able to play it next week, February the 25th. So Outriders is a game that has been getting a little bit of buzz. This is coming from Square Enix and People Can Fly. People Can Fly have done some pretty good stuff, but I do see a lot of people being a little bit on the fence on Outriders based on the gameplay they've seen, whatever the case may be. I think the game definitely has some potential, and as a cooperative shooter, I could see this being a game I'll jump in with my friends, but it's definitely going to be about longevity with this one, in my opinion. Like, is it going to be a game that gets new content, going to consistently get better and evolve? We'll see how that turns out. You guys are unfamiliar with People Can Fly. They've put out Bulletstorm Full Clip Edition, Painkiller, games like that. Bulletstorm, obviously, a pretty fun first-person shooter, a little bit zany and wacky at times, a lot of vulgar in the game as well, but I enjoyed it the hell out of Bulletstorm. Outriders is a game that I do see Square Enix having a lot of investment towards, and is another one of those games, man. Square Enix, they have a lot of Japanese IPs they can rely on. Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, even Nier, but their Western IPs, sometimes they don't hit all that well in their Western games in general. I point to Quiet Man, I point to Marvel's Avengers, and there are other games outside of the Western sphere, like a Left Alive, that hasn't done all that well. They're those core franchises that Square Enix can always rely on. They're always going to do well, but it seems like they've struggled to evolve outside of that. Tomb Raider was a great success, but even SOTR was a little bit questionable. Outriders is another opportunity to establish something that could have a lot of longevity and be something with a little bit of lasting power. We'll see how that ultimately turns out. The game is scheduled for a release in April 1st to be exact, but I do see this demo being something that could make it or break it for a lot of people, and a lot of people, I do assume, are going to check this demo out based on just playing it with friends, word of mouth, whatever the case may be. It'll be interesting to see the reception of Outriders over the next few weeks after the demo actually drops. The game does tout drop-in, drop-out cooperative gameplay. Visually, I don't think it's anything to write home about, but I don't think visuals are really the, make it or break it factor for this game. It's going to have to be something of the fun factor, the longevity, how long are people going to stay attached to those games. That's all going to have to come together, because there's a lot of games like this in the sense of being high-quality co-op titles, and the market for it definitely is one that I think is hungry, but you gotta deliver something that is of a high-quality level. We'll see if Outriders can deliver on that. Okay, moving on from that, Final Fantasy XVI details are being held back to avoid speculation and disappointment. Wow, this is something I absolutely agree with. Let us stop talking about games well before they are ready to be talked about, only to delay them over and over again, get people upset, lower the anticipation of the game, and then when it comes out, it disappoints everybody, and everything is just a train wreck. Does that spell out a certain little game that came out recently? I'll leave that up to you guys to figure out. But speaking with the Washington Post, producer Naoki Yoshida commented on the lack of news, saying that the developer doesn't want to say something half-baked, and that will only lead to speculation and possibly disappointment, noting each person will probably have their own sort of idea or image of what the next Final Fantasy should be. Saying something half-baked is definitely very high risk. If something gets spoken about, someone will pick it up on social, and it starts to spread around, and people will form expectations. So with Final Fantasy XVI, whenever we do reveal more information on it, we hope to show what kind of game it's going to bring and what kind of excitement we can bring with it. And although Yoshida isn't being completely front with a lot of elements of Final Fantasy XVI, the game does seem relatively far along. It is scheduled for a 2021 release. We'll see if that stays in place. Honestly, if we talk about games that I think have the most potential to be delayed this year, I'm sorry, I don't think Final Fantasy XVI is coming out this year. I don't think God of War Ragnarok is coming out this year. Would absolutely love to be proven wrong. I hope that this negative energy I'm bringing to the world just slaps me in the face with positive energy, and both those games come out in 2021. That'll make me the happiest I can be, because those are two of my most anticipated games of the year, alongside Ratchet & Clank. Ratchet & Clank, I'm 99% sure is coming out this year. The other two, those two aforementioned titles, Definitely a little bit skeptical on that, but what I've already seen of Final Fantasy 16, I absolutely am digging it. I'm digging the vibe of the game, giving me some, you know, resemblance to Final Fantasy 14 a little bit, and considering who's working on the game, that definitely makes a lot of sense. Liking the look of the game, all that is great, and I like that Yoshida is of the mindset, yo, let's talk about the game when it's ready to be talked about. Final Fantasy 15, I feel like that was one of the great fumbles of that game. I mean, how are you gonna do an event to announce the release date of the game and then ultimately delay the game after announcing that release date? I thought that was borderline funny at that point. But it's like, yo, don't be doing stuff like that. Don't be hyping up, yo, this is the date we're gonna announce the release date for the game, and then delaying the game anyway. Like, I get it, the rhetoric over and over again is, yo, let them delay the game, have it released when it's ready, but I think the best case scenario is, don't give us a release date that you're not comfortable, really assured you're gonna hit, and then delaying the game, you know? I just don't think, it doesn't have to go either extreme. You could just be a little bit coy about the game, leave some cards close to the vest, and then talk about it when you're ready to talk about it. And as much crap people give to Bethesda, I thought they did Fallout 4 really well. They announced the game at E3, they gave you the release date, they hit the release date, all is well. Now, obviously, in 2021, things are a little bit different. You still got the, you know, stuff with COVID, lockdowns, all that stuff, and, you know, a lot of games are being delayed because of that, and I'll give them some sympathy for that, but I'm talking about prior to everything like that, multiple delays really weren't my cup of tea. And Square Enix was kind of notorious with long development times and things of that nature, so with FF16, the game was announced. Let's hope it sees a comfortable release, nothing crazy happens, and with the team working on FF16, I really think that's what we're gonna end up with. Lastly, I do want to quickly note the Sinking City is now on PlayStation 5, native 4K resolution, 60 frames per second, faster load times, and all that good stuff. Unfortunately, the game will not see a free upgrade from the PlayStation 4 version. There are some legality issues, and the game does have a different publisher for the PlayStation 5 version, so that is a little bit of a bummer. If you've never checked out the game, it is one that has some good elements to it. $50, however, don't think it's worth $50. Definitely one that I would wait for, honestly, a sub $20, sub $15 price point if this game vibes with you and you like the look of it. But yeah, a one-year-old game without a free upgrade for $50, I'm gonna have to say no mas to that. And I know Zelda Skyward Sword is releasing for $60, but it's Zelda Skyward Sword at the end of the day. There's special rules made for special games. Sinking City is not one of those special games. Not a bad game by any stretch of the imagination, but $50 to me is just a little bit too expensive. That's just my opinion. You might disagree, but that's going to wrap up this one. Again, Outriders getting a free demo next week. Definitely check that out. Final Fantasy 16 looks like the developers are going to leave some of the cards close to the vest, and I agree with that 100%. Talk about it when you're ready, and the Sinking City headed to the PlayStation 5, and it's out today. That's going to wrap up this one. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.